Watching the artisans in the craft village at the Ozark Folk Center State Park do their thing is like taking a ride in a time machine. There's no app for any of this stuff. Jeanette Larson's specialty is fiber. She creates beautiful rugs and shawls like these by hand, but her involvement in weaving doesn't begin and end with a loom. She's got a hand on every part of this process going back to the very start.
I've been a craftsperson all my life. My grandma taught me to crochet when I was 8. My aunt taught me to weave when I was 12, and my mother made our clothes, so I learned how to sew. And so I just kind of devolved, basically, went all the way back to the beginnings of the craft when I became an adult.
Larson grows her own wool here at her farm, where she has a herd of Jacob sheep.
I love the Jacobs. They're a small homestead breed. They're very easy to deal with. They're very fascinating because they've got the multiple horns like Cowboy with his 4.
Cowboy is a ram. He's a team player for sure. With his help, springtime becomes lamb time. Larson sells some of them, but keeps the rest so they can grow up and grow out the wool fleece she uses for her craft. And yes, she's hands-on for that part too, shearing the sheep with a very sharp pair of scissors. After some careful snips, this is the result. Besides the sheep, Larson also has goats and one huge llama. While she has always been drawn to working with fiber produced by her animals, there was a time when she abandoned it to work at a newspaper. Quite a different lifestyle.
My doctor said, you got to do something to get your blood pressure down. At that point, I was managing editor, which is a high-stress job. And so I just decided that I needed to really go back to my weaving, and I pulled my loom out of the garage where it had been stored for years while I had kids and everything else, and started weaving again. And found that the weaving, that whole body just flow with the loom, just was very relaxing.
So these days, you can find Jeanette Larson in her shop at the Ozark Folk Center Craft Village. This is where she takes her sheep's fleece, cards it, and then puts it on her spindle.
As the whir of the wheel is going, it just calms you down. You think about it, generations of babies have fallen asleep to that whir of the spinning wheel. It's what we had before we put them in a car seat and took them in the car. So.
With the yarn she's created, Larson then puts it on her loom and begins the final process of making a finished product. If this sounds like something you might like to do, you're in luck. Larson teaches classes about how to do this exact thing.
I love all my classes because they are a bonding experience and a chance for people to learn about themselves. And they're usually fascinated by the feel of the natural materials and then how different that is from the things in our modern day life.
You've heard of farm to table. Well, this is sheep to shawl, a lesson in rethinking the link between what we wear and where it comes from.